Well, they've learnt a style of speaking that is non-offensive. If they had an actual conversation.
It is offensive. It offends me fucking to the core.
But don't we also have the right to reply, as it were? There used to be that program, Right to Reply, which was, a play on words of the word rights, human rights, and writing a letter. Ha ha ha. The idiosyncrasies of that. But anyway, they'd read out people's complaints, and it was only a short program. But you see, the fact that it was a short program told me something. There's not a lot of people who've got an opinion. Either they're very happy to receive what they've got, or they're very selective in what is put out there. But sometimes you'll get a change, won't you? If you say the right things in the right way, even if you don't like something, they really, really like it. Say, oh, come on, man. They're always looking for alternatives. They're always looking to find out what products we want to buy, what we really want. So there's that side. But I don't think we know how to ask for what we really want properly and say, please can I have, and thank you. How many people go to the government right now and say, right, I need such and such, please can I have? Even though they've told you no, you still go to them and say, please can I have? And get what you've asked for. What?
Nobody?
Nobody? Well, I have. Do it all the time. And I tell them thank you. And I'm not saying it, to patronise them.
You say it all the time, and you do it all the time. Like when?
Well, even the other week when I had to go to court, and...
Well, that's once, isn't it?
Hey?
That was only once, though.
Well, I don't have that many problems. I maintain my life to have as least problems as possible. Some people like to invite the problems, and then they've got something to talk about. It's like misery loves company.
Well, hang on a minute. What about...
Everything's still there, everything I've ever said is still there. You can read into it, you'll find it 1,000 years from now, and you'll say, okay, what's the meaning behind it all?
I won't.
Well, me and you won't, but someone can. What is the meaning? What am I really trying to say here? And do they understand that? And are they reaching an overstanding now? I think they are. I've seen changes. And it's not every single change that you want, but it's change in the right direction as opposed to the wrong direction. So therefore that shows me, at least, and it should show plenty of others, that it's possible to get the changes you want. But not instantly. We've got a problem with patience sometimes because it's us that, right now the problem's here. But there's also prevention is better than cure. So before you get to destitution, deal with it. Deal with everything. And don't make 10 more problems. I just find there's a lot of people that are using the techniques of notices and things like that, and getting a lot of feedback that they seem to feed off. It's like, oh, look at me, I've given out 10 affidavits this month. It's like, well, can you imagine what their life's going to be like in 20 years' time if they continue down that route?
I don't know anyone like that.
They're there, mate. They're there. And then there's other people that are a bit more, shall we say, wiser and a bit more mature with it. I don't think you can have maturity and wisdom without the responsibility coming into it. What is your duty? Your duty is to be responsible for something. Me, I'm responsible for morals and ethics. I'm responsible for my family. I'm responsible for loads of things. I take that responsibility and say, listen, I'm not a child. I'm going to think about everything that I'm doing. I'm going to try and, if we're saying to them, no injury, loss or harm, then start with yourself. Don't be causing injury, loss and harm and then expecting them to take you seriously when you go about causing that. That's why I say the remedy is not for everybody. Some criminals can read, and they might take what we're saying. Like, Noonan, he climbed up the the big eye, innit? The big wheel in Manchester to escape the police, and he was claiming all them things. And fair enough, but you know, he's got a history, hasn't he? So it's like the boy who cried wolf. I'm not saying that he's not innocent. I'm just saying the boy that cried wolf is harder to believe.
It's all hearsay.
Yeah, it is all hearsay. And the boy that cried wolf is harder to believe. So don't cry wolf with your notices. You know, don't be like every minute. Choose your battles. So anyway, we talked enough about the problem. I want remedy now, and you said the perfect remedy before, which is music, man. You know, why people are lacking the things we've just been talking about is because the old music had that message. This new music, how does that make you feel? Say the message that's in the
when young people grow up and they see how older people are and how things are, they look at it and they say, I don't want it to be like that. And they want to change it and they want their life to be different, they want it to be better. And that makes them go along with the thing that music used to put out, or probably still does put out, which gives them an identity that's different from what's gone before, because the music's different. But then you get to a point where you realise that actually those things connected with moments in my life, but you know what I mean? They're musically very good, some of them, but you know.
Well, what is music? Because I think music is many things, but I'll define it.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from a mature person's perspective who's had time to be involved with music a lot. That's not everybody's take on music, you know what I mean? A lot of it is just a lot of it's a social thing.
Yeah.
A lot of it is about that. That's probably a large thing of what music was there for in the first place because of that, isn't it? You know, it's all about that.
Steam valve in many respects, but it's also a conveyor. It's a vehicle. It carries something. It carries messages. It carries ideas.
Because music knows it's got an audience. That's why.
When it has an audience, yeah. It's a promoter of concepts, of ideas. All the time, it's promoting something. I mean, there's only one form of music really that has a universal language, and that's like jazz and just instrumentals, where there's no human word spoken, and the only feeling that you get is what the music is giving you. When you put a word to it, straight away there's a concept, and that is it's making it finite. It might have a few abstract meanings, but really it's quite finite now and defined. I mean, you look at the modern music, it is absolutely clear what they hold to be dear and important, and that is womanizing and spending money and driving fast cars, you know, and showing off, showing how you have more than someone else, whether it be a better lyric or more cash, a bigger house, a prettier woman. Competition taken to the maximum, where it's only animalistic. And where's the morality in that? Where's the necessary tools to deal with relationships or
even to deal with yourself? Because all of those competitions create turbulence and conflict in your own soul.
Internal competition.
Because you're suddenly being encumbered with all these goalposts. And if there's nothing else, you're like, well, all right, well, everyone else is going for that, and maybe that's what I should be going for as well. And then you get sucked in it. But it's like,
that's why ego has got bigger over the last few decades, because people are in more competition. Ego, excuse me, ego gives them the necessary psychological tools to turn off the conscious
it just shows you that
conscience.
You need to tend to yourself. You need to tend to your own garden and weed out the weeds, isn't it?
What a weed is. What is a weed in your conscious state? Is one of them big bubbles that the society, through music, through advertising, is connected to you. How do you disconnect all of those ideas and ever find self when there's no such thing as self yet? It doesn't exist. Even me, you know, creating music using notes that have already been predetermined, instruments that were made by other people.
Oh, so you've got to know yourself, yeah?
Yeah. Original thought. Wow. There's probably no such thing. It's just one thought, and the original thought is God. That's all I could define it as. I have no words for it yet. Yeah, it's just so nice. I come here, I listen to, you know, the music you've got. It makes everybody feel nice. There's no contention, you know. And that's what we need to get back to, because this new music, it has nothing for us. It's you know what it's like? It's like, say you get them deep fried Mars bar, you know, the crispy batter, and there's supposed to be a Mars bar in it. It's all some promise of something sweet, but actually it's just hollow. All they've given us is a wrapper, and the wrapper shows how beautiful it looks, and then you open it up and it's just hollow. It doesn't fill you, it doesn't satisfy you, it leaves you empty, and maybe with a worse craving. And because that's all that's on offer, you go and buy another one, and you're never satisfied, and you get fat, and you get heart disease, and none of it's any good for you. But you continue to consume it because that's all that they will allow to be sold. And that's the mafia part that we're talking about in music.
Let me tell you a little story now about how effective that is though, that shit. Because when I was 14,
Yeah.
I went to France, right, with my sister. Because my mum and dad were going on holiday together for a bit, and we had an au pair at the time.
Yeah.
Because my mum and dad were working, we could just about afford to have that for us, so we went and stayed with her in Paris. And when I went away, I was given some money to spend while I was going away. I'd never had any money before, because I never got pocket money.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went out and I bought fucking shitloads of Mars bars.
as we've all done, I've done
I
that.
bought loads of Mars bars. I bought about 10 Mars bars. And I was like, yeah man, it was like, how am I going to survive without a Mars bar a week or whatever? Thinking I'm going to be out there for like 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
I bought 10 Mars bars. And I'd ate them within the first 6 hours of being there. All of them. And I felt as sick as a fucking dog, man, honestly, and I never looked at another Mars bar again for a long, long time, man.
Never mind deep fried.
But it was just like, it was ridiculous. And when I look back on it and I think that I did that, it just seems...
What does that tell us about human nature? How gluttonous we are for things that we like.
But I can still see parallels of that behaviour in my life with other things.
Yeah.
At the same time as I'm alive now, and I look back at that and laugh and think, well, you know, that was ridiculous. But in another 20 years' time, I look back at what I'm doing now and think what I've done now, and that was fucking ridiculous. What was I doing that for?
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be great if you can get all the wisdom you need right now, or as early as possible? And that's why family, the structure of family is very important. A mother and a father, ideally.
Brothers and sisters as well. You know,
Brothers and sisters, ideally.
I really miss my sister not being in my life. She's not been in my life for a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was a part of me, you know what I mean?
Well, look at Chinese families. They make sure that when they buy a house or a piece of land, it comes with land anyway. When they buy a house, they buy something big enough, and then they'll build another house so that their family's just next door. Or they'll buy the row of houses on the street, and that's all the family.
In Egypt as well, because they build a house and then they start, because it doesn't rain there, they build another story on top of it for when their kids get married. And then
From you've got a family like that, do you need company? Or a company, a corporation? No, you've got a family business, everything's working. That's what they destroyed. That's what they took away from us during the 20th century. That's why it took 2 wars to kill all the men. You know why it was the men they had to kill? Because men are all about that, defending the family. Who's the defender of the family? The last point of defence, or the first point. You have to get past dad.